What's up, guys? Welcome back to Newswave. So from time to time, we'll have announcements pop up with new hardware or accessories for older systems. And the other day, we had an announcement for the GameCube getting a new accessory that looks pretty interesting. We'll go over that here today. Also, we are going to be talking about Nintendo and the Pokemon Company as they are all done messing around, taking out a very well-known leaker in the process. And we're also going to be going over Bethesda as they have now responded to the entire write-up from Mick Gordon. And it looks like this situation's about to get pretty serious. Guys, if you enjoy these videos, make sure you hit that like button. Helps out a ton. And if you're new here to the Spawnwave channel, make sure you subscribe down below. And we're going to start today with Microsoft and a new update for Xbox with November. That should be live now, actually. We can see this posted up over on the Xbox website, where they say, starting today, we've made it even easier to chat with Discord friends across mobile, console, and PC. When your Discord account is linked to Xbox, you can now join voice channels from your Discord servers directly from your Xbox console, which is a very welcomed feature here, since before you'd have to kind of keep your phone at the ready to push the call to your Xbox. Looks like they've just gone ahead and integrated it directly into the OS on the system itself. So great news there. They also have noise suppression in Discord voice on Xbox Series X and S, which, well, if you've played Call of Duty or really any online game with voice chat on the Xbox, also a very welcome feature there. So really cool to see Discord just basically being fully integrated into the Xbox, and it's something I would like to see just across the board, since we are seeing more and more of a push for crossplay. If we can all just fire up a Discord application on the Xbox, the Switch, or the PlayStation when we play together and basically just have one room, I think that'd be really cool. So hopefully we see more of this heading forward in the coming years. Also, we recently had an interesting development when it comes to Transformers and maybe a new video game for it. There were leaked cutscenes that found their way online, and I kind of figured they were going to get struck down at some point, and it looks like they have, which I guess confirms that there is something going on there behind the scenes. We can see this posted up. This was from ROTB Trailer. Says Hasbro is DMCAing leaks. This is massive. The leaks are real. Both cutscenes are real, and yeah, the cutscenes look like they were out of a higher quality Transformers game. And thinking back on it, there have been rumors that Certain Affinity is working on what apparently is a third-person live service-esque game similar to, as mentioned here by Xputer, Destiny 2 or Warframe. When I think of the Transformers games that were pretty good, I'm thinking of like War for Cybertron. That was a cool game back on the Xbox 360. There's also Transformers Devastation. I have not played that one, but people seem to enjoy that as well. And you figure Transformers is an easy intellectual property to make a video game around, but there have been some misses as well. But it'd be cool to see one. I'm always hesitant when it comes to the aspect of it being a live service game, because those are always hit and miss. But hey, more Transformers, that's definitely something I'd like to see. Oh, and as we're approaching the Game Awards, we're going to start seeing, I'm sure, more and more leaks and rumors and stuff get out there for different games, as well as maybe a certain movie coming up. We can see this posted up on Twitter from Trolls Central. It says BBFC has rated another trailer for the Super Mario Bros. Movie recently, November 11th to be exact, and its runtime is 1 minute 30 seconds, so obviously this would probably be a second trailer, and people are now speculating this could be for the Game Awards, which I believe there's a Sonic trailer at one of the Game Awards, and obviously with the Mario movie coming up, 5 or so months out now, it makes a lot of sense to drop a trailer there where there are a bunch of people who are tuning in for video games, this being obviously a video game movie, and maybe we can get more from Mario and Chris Pratt to try to get a decent bearing as to what Mario is going to sound like for about 90 minutes to 2 hours of the movie. And guys, with some of the quick news out of the way, let's get into the bigger stuff. Let's start right away with this new accessory that has been announced for the GameCube and will be shipping out to start 2023. We can see this posted up by 8-Bit Mods, the MemCard Pro GC for GameCube. They have two different versions. One's like smoke black. The other one I believe is just like a like almost like a white frosted look to it. But they currently have pre-orders up. They're live at $54.98. They have done one of these memory cards before, that being for the PlayStation. I was thinking about doing a video around that memory card because it is an interesting concept here. It's essentially being marketed as the last memory card you'll ever have to buy for that system. In this case, the GameCube, but even the PlayStation memory card got rave reviews because the idea with that screen, for example, it'll have more information and you would use your SD card that would allow you to drop a 1 GB card in and all of a sudden have a ton of storage. And we were dealing with megabytes back then. So, as they mentioned here on their page, if you have a 1 GB micro SD card, you will have 2,048 59 block memory cards. You remember the 59 block memory cards? We had one of those that came with Animal Crossing back in the day because it was basically designed just for Animal Crossing. But we've had memory cards up to 1,019 blocks. All of these different sizes are supported. You can legitimately just set up all these different sized memory cards on this one Memory Card Pro with that SD card. Now, they also have wireless built in, so you can connect to it through Wi-Fi and transfer or do different things to the saves that are included on your SD card. It also has Game ID support, with the idea being it can recognize which game you're playing and you can have it set up to load different memory cards or saves. They even mentioned some of the planned features, with one being local and cloud backup functionality. We would have cloud saves on the GameCube through this Memory Card Pro. That's pretty impressive. They're looking to start shipping by January 9th, 2023, and this is something that they've been able to accomplish with the PlayStation, so there is a bit of confidence behind the Memory Card Pro. It's exciting stuff to see, just new accessories released for older systems like, obviously, the GameCube, and we've really seen a big push for new hardware for this platform. I'm sure as people have a lot of nostalgia for it, but also working to bring it into the modern era with HDMI out being enabled through that digital port, and even bringing the idea of cloud saves to the system. We also, of course, have the SD loader, and there's been talks after the Pico boot being basically installed in many GameCubes now through the modding community, we could have M.2 support. Basically, from my understanding, it would replace where that broadband adapter would go that, let's face it, no one really uses or even has. You pair all of that with that Memory Card Pro, and there's a lot of functionality that's been built for this GameCube over the last 2 or 3 years. So I will be getting one of these Memory Card Pros. I'll put a pre-order in, and I guess we'll check it out when they ship out to start 2023. Next up, let's talk about Nintendo, the Pokemon Company, and how they're all done messing around when it comes to these Pokemon leaks. I've mentioned before, there are a couple of companies you just do not mess with in gaming, and at the top of the list certainly would be Nintendo and the Pokemon Company. They do not mess around, and in fact, they will just go out and start striking down leaks that are posted up online, and recently it looks like a well-known leaker was absolutely crushed on Twitter, which we can see here, that being CentroLeaks. Their account is suspended. It just says Twitter suspends accounts that violate the Twitter rules, and at this time, they did also comment on the Centro Pokemon account, saying, "Our leak account, CentroLeaks, has been suspended. Please wait for further information." Probably smart, by the way, to separate those two accounts, as Centro Pokemon has a pretty large following, and I mean, I assume they figured the CentroLeaks one would probably get hit eventually, as they also now have a CentroLeaks alt account, and I've noticed 2 or 3 others. The thing with CentroLeaks, though, is that they were poking at Nintendo, and we had talked about this briefly, where they were saying Nintendo can't do anything. We're in a country where the laws and copyright stuff doesn't actually affect. We don't even have an eShop here. Well, again, Nintendo, the Pokemon Company, they don't care at all. They will come and find your Twitter account and they will get it wiped off the face of the earth. In this case, CentroLeaks was sharing a lot of just leaked images and sprites and different things from the game files that were uploaded online after the entire game for Scarlet and Violet just leaked and were dumped online. And when you start doing that and you accrue a large library of tweets of these images, once the Pokemon Company goes in and starts putting copyright strikes and claims on these different messages, it will trigger basically a domino effect to where Twitter just essentially just bans your account immediately. Like, it's in seconds. If you get a strike on Twitter, to my knowledge, there is a certain amount you need before they do this. I think it's like 3. but because they had so many, and I'm sure the Pokemon Company just hit all at once, it's now gone. But on their alt account, they're already sharing stuff again, so they're just restarting, I guess, and continuing on from here, which means that I'm sure the Pokemon Company will once again find them. But we're close to Scarlet and Violet coming out. I'm getting excited for it to release and want to check out what this new open world Pokemon is like. I think this weekend, maybe Saturday, I'll do some of my immediate impressions of like the first hour of the game, because hopefully they have one of those, what would be the, I guess, the walking out of the vault moment where you're like, oh, this is an open world Pokemon game. Next up, let's talk about an update for the Mick Gordon Bethesda Doom Eternal situation. Very quickly to catch people up, back with Doom Eternal, there was an entire like official soundtrack on vinyl that was being promised for a collector's edition. Turns out Mick Gordon only did about 25% of the tracks. The others were done by an audio engineer at Bethesda, and fans were not happy about it. Bethesda then went, Marty Stratton, to Reddit, posted up an entire Reddit thread that essentially threw Mick Gordon under the bus, said he's difficult to work with, and so on there. And then, like a week or so ago, Mick Gordon posted his response that was quite lengthy, and it had a lot of images, receipts, the whole deal. Well, now it looks like Bethesda has responded to that Medium article, which we can see this over on Twitter. They say the recent post by Mick Gordon both mischaracterized and misrepresented the team at id Software, the development of Doom Eternal. Marty Stratton and Chad Mossholder with a one-sided and unjust account of an irreparable professional relationship. We are aware of all the details and history in this matter and unequivocally support Marty, Chad, and the team at id Software. We reject the distortion of the truth and selective presentation of incomplete facts. We stand ready with full and complete documented evidence to disclose in an appropriate venue as needed. They go on to say that many of the people within id, due to Mick Gordon's response, that received threats and harassment. Obviously, I think it goes without saying, don't threaten or harass any of these people within these companies here. But I'm looking at this, and I mean, Mick Gordon didn't exactly show up with hearsay and just like, okay, this is what my account was. He showed up with very, very detailed and thorough information that had documentation to back up pretty much most, if not all, of his claims. And Bethesda's basically saying, we have stuff, and we'll talk about it eventually at a proper venue, which makes me think this could be going to court in some way. I don't know if it'll ever get to the position where they are actually in court at trial and there's discovery and all this stuff. I think I could see some sort of settlement out of court, but it does appear that Bethesda is prepared to kind of go to that next level just based on the statement. And with this statement posted up, I did see a lot of people who are like, I'm not really sure what's true or not here. And to be honest, it's probably still somewhere in the middle. Like, game development isn't easy. It takes a long time, and there is a lot of back and forth. One day someone could be tough to work with, the next not. So that's the biggest thing here is Mick Gordon provided quite a bit of evidence, and we really haven't seen much from Bethesda. So they say they have it. I assume eventually it'll be shown, maybe in another random Reddit post someday, just out of nowhere. But I guess we'll see what happens from here, if they end up going to court or if there's just some kind of behind-the-scenes settlement that maybe we never even find out about. And in our last bit of news, let's talk about Nintendo Power and how the entire library of magazines have been uploaded online and preserved through archive.org. We can see this Reddit post, this saying every issue of Nintendo Power uploaded to archive. And it does link to not only the archive.org page, but also to a torrent URL, and it's about 40 gigabytes in size. This is from issue 1 to 285. Now, they appeared to have gathered many of these issues from across the internet, with even retro mags being involved, but apparently there were a few issues that were very difficult to track down and get them all uploaded. It's done in a CBR format that, to my understanding, makes it a bit easier to kind of read it like it was an actual magazine in front of you. You can go to the archive.org link and even download whichever issue you want. But I noticed when I went there, it was definitely spotty. I'm thinking there's a lot of traffic hitting this page, as many different publications online are now covering this, because it is really cool to see this. However, I do want to mention that people were bringing up the fact this has happened before. Like, Nintendo Power was uploaded almost completely. There were a few issues that appear to have been filled in here that were missing, and apparently Nintendo had those pulled down, like just copyright strikes, claims, all of this. So I'm bringing this up now just in case it's still out there. Might be worth downloading either some of the issues you want or just take a shot at that entire torrent and grab all of them just to back them up yourself, especially if you've heard a lot about Nintendo Power but have never looked through them. I think they are really cool snapshots in time and definitely worth looking through overall. But hey, fun stuff here. I'll be grabbing most of these, I'll say, and keeping them for myself because it is fun at times to kind of revisit the old days in the 90s. And before we go to the comment of the day, we're gonna take a look at the poll that I posted up yesterday, where I asked, Pokemon is out on Friday, which starter are you going with? Look at that, 44% picked the correct answer. That's Fuecoco. Then we have 32% on Sprigatito and then 24% on Quaxley. You know, looking at that, that's probably the split I was expecting, or at least the placements. Like Sprigatito as a cat, sure, I get a lot of cat lovers. We'll pick them. Fuecoco, though, come on, a crocodile, or could even be a dinosaur for all we know. But usually I would pick the fire type anyway, so this just kind of falls in line with my typical choice. But yeah, like I said, I'm excited to jump into Pokemon tomorrow, starting with Fuecoco. And we'll finish up with the comment of the day, as you're seeing here. This is from Paula saying, I've never gone into a store on Black Friday to shop, seeing videos online and news reports of shoppers fighting amongst themselves over items, shoppers falling and getting trampled by folks behind them, as well as reports of those working the stores getting injured or worse. I simply said it wasn't worth it. While some in-store doorbusters deals are tempting, you can sometimes find that exact deal online and order it from the comfort of home. And even if it's not the exact deal, if it's maybe 10% more, might be worth just to avoid the hassle of going out on Black Friday, which slowly bled into just Thanksgiving at 6 o'clock. And the thing though with those reports and images and videos of people getting trampled, those are outliers. I never saw anyone get trampled or even actual fist fights over electronics or anything like that. You'd see yelling and stuff like that. But for the most part, you just be shoulder to shoulder with people waiting in line, because eventually retail stores like the Walmart near me slowly figured out that you give out tickets and then you tape down lanes inside the store and you get people in, you get them lined up and you hand them the TV that's $150 that day. And then you just kind of make your way out. So for the most part, it got less and less disastrous and wild and pretty straightforward over time. Still though, do you really want to go out, fight potential traffic just to save $10 on a game? I understand why some people just kind of avoid the whole thing altogether. And ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it here for Newswave. If you enjoyed this video, guys, hit that like button. If not, hit the dislike. Leave comments down below about everything we talked about here today. Was that new Memory Card Pro for the GameCube? Are you picking that up? And do you like the idea of all these new accessories and pieces of hardware being announced for older retro systems? And then also, what about Bethesda's response to Mick Gordon? What do you think's going to come of all of this? Thanks guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.